Linda Ronstadt remains one of the most talented and versatile performers the music industry has ever seen, more than just a remarkable vocalist. She had a rare gift for reinterpreting songs, turning well-known tracks into deeply personal expressions through the power of her voice. While she was often labeled a cover artist, Linda was much more than that. Her fearless approach to genre allowed her to master virtually every style of music: rock, jazz, country, rhythm and blues, gospel, opera, choral music, and even mariachi. Her sound was a bold blend of country, rock and roll, and pop, an eclectic mix that attracted criticism from multiple camps. Rock purists said she wasn't rock enough. Folk fans thought she leaned to pop. And country audiences struggled to pin her down. But Linda never allowed herself to be boxed into any single category. She let the music speak for itself. Her voice, full of emotional depth and expressive power, brought songs to life in ways few others could. She had an instinct for knowing exactly what to add or take away from a song to make it resonate with listeners across generations. Her song choices often came from legendary songwriters like Jimmy Webb, Elvis Costello, Warren Zevon, Smokey Robinson, and Jackson Browne. In doing so, she introduced a new generation to music from earlier eras, including the often overlooked classics of the 1920s and 1930s that had been eclipsed by the rise of rock. Many of her covers became so popular that they eclipsed the original versions, elevating her status as a transformative figure in music. While some original artists were initially uneasy about being overshadowed, many came to appreciate the spotlight Linda brought to their work. Warren Zevon, when asked how he felt about her version of Poor, Poor, Pitiful Me becoming the definitive one, simply said, "I'll write the songs, Linda can make them hits." In fact, her renditions often gave songwriters their first real taste of mainstream success, financially and creatively. Despite releasing over 32 albums, many of which earned gold, platinum, and Grammy recognition, Linda only wrote 3 songs herself: Try Me Again, Lo Siento, Mi Vida, and Winter Light. When asked why she didn't write more, Linda was refreshingly honest. Anybody can write a song. But it's really hard to write a good song, and it's almost impossible to write a great song. I had people around me writing great songs. From an early age, Linda was surrounded by music. It was more than a passion, it was part of her DNA. And even though she didn't write many songs, she built a legacy by doing what few could do better: interpreting music in a way that made people feel it deeply. Linda Ronstadt grew up immersed in music. Her childhood home was filled with the sound of traditional Mexican ballads and classic American songs, played from her parents' record collection. Music wasn't just entertainment, it was a family affair. Linda, along with her siblings and parents, would sing together, each member contributing their own musical talent. Linda learned to play the guitar, her brother sang soprano in the church choir, and her other siblings were either singing or playing instruments like drums. By the age of 14, Linda had already begun her professional singing career. Alongside her brother and sister, she formed a trio called the Three Ronstadts. For the next 3 years, they performed folk, country, bluegrass, and Mexican songs at coffee houses, fraternity parties, small venues, anywhere that would let them play the music they grew up loving, although Linda was still attending school and living the life expected of a young Catholic girl. Her ambitions stretched far beyond the conventional path. She dreamed of creating a fusion of folk music and rock and roll. So after just 1 semester at Arizona State University, she made a bold decision. She dropped out of college and moved to Los Angeles with only $30 and a single piece of advice from her father: never let anyone take your picture with your clothes off. Once in LA, her music journey took flight. She reconnected with Bobby Kimmel, a fellow musician she had met back home, who was captivated by her voice and had encouraged her to join his new band. Together with guitarist Kenny Edwards, they formed a folk rock trio called the Stone Ponies. Initially, Bobby sang lead vocals while Linda played guitar and sang backup. But it wasn't long before her powerful voice took center stage. The Stone Ponies began performing in small Hollywood clubs, slowly gaining attention for their unique blend of folk and rock. Soon, they were signed by Capitol Records and released their debut album, The Stone Ponies. Just 5 months later, They recorded their second album, Evergreen, Volume 2, which featured their breakout hit, Different Drum. Though the song was credited to the band, Capitol Records decided to re-record it with Linda as the sole lead vocalist, leaving the other members out. A move paid off. Different Drum became a massive hit and catapulted Linda into the spotlight. But it also marked the end of the Stone Ponies, as the decision to sideline her bandmates led to the group's breakup. Now a solo artist, Linda released her debut solo album Hand Sewn, homegrown in 1969, though it didn't find much commercial success. Her next album, Silk Purse, came out a year later and earned her first Grammy nomination for the poignant ballad Long Time. While assembling musicians to back her on tour, Linda stumbled upon a treasure trove of future legends. The Los Angeles music scene was buzzing with young talent, and Linda's eye for recognizing greatness helped launch more than just her own career. Her touring band included names like Jackson Browne, Neil Young, Bernie Leadon, Don Henley, and Glenn Frey. In fact, Linda hired Henley after hearing him play drums at the Troubadour one night. She quickly brought him on board for her tour, unwittingly setting the stage for what would later become one of the most iconic rock bands of all time, the Eagles. Linda Ronstadt also brought on Glenn Frey as a guitarist, an easy decision, as he had previously sung with her manager. During early tours, there wasn't enough money to provide separate hotel rooms for band members, so Glenn and Don Henley shared a room. It was during those late-night jam sessions and conversations that they realized they had a unique musical chemistry. Both could sing, both could write, and soon they began rehearsing and developing song ideas together. Their collaboration grew stronger when they were joined by Bernie Leadon and Randy Meisner, alongside a circle of talented songwriters like Jackson Browne and Jack Tempchin. The group began to find its identity. They continued to tour with Linda and even contributed to her third solo album, Linda Ronstadt. But by the end of that year, Glenn, Don, Bernie, and Randy decided to form a band of their own, a band they named the Eagles. Henley would later credit Linda as a pivotal influence on their formation and his personal career, describing her as a guiding force and key supporter during those early years. No story about Linda's rise would be complete without mentioning singer-songwriter Jackson Browne. Although he never joined the Eagles, Jackson played a vital role in Linda's success. She met him when he was just 16, already writing songs like These Days. Young but brilliant, Jackson quickly became part of her creative circle. Though he never formally joined Linda's band, he remained a close collaborator and friend. Over the years, he toured alongside Linda and the Eagles. The three acts would often alternate as headliners depending on regional popularity. By 1973, at age 27, Linda made a major move. She recruited Peter Asher as her producer. Together, they released her fourth solo album, Don't Cry Now, a 10-track collection that blended country, folk, country rock, and pop rock. It was the first time she truly explored multiple genres within a single album. She covered everything from Wanda Jackson's Silver Threads and Golden Needles to the Eagles' Desperado, Randy Newman's Sail Away, and Neil Young's I Believe in You. Fans and critics alike praised the album, calling Linda's versions fresh and emotionally powerful. Don't Cry Now also earned Linda her biggest gig yet, opening for Neil Young on his Time Fades Away tour. She found herself performing in major cities and in front of larger crowds than ever before. Peter Asher proved to be the perfect producer for this new chapter in her career. Collaborative, forward-thinking, and entirely in sync with her artistic vision. With Asher at the helm, Linda's music soared. In 1974, she released Heart Like a Wheel, her final album with Capitol Records, and a breakthrough in every sense. The album was an instant hit, climbing to No. 1 on the Billboard 200 and staying on the charts for weeks. Her rendition of Hank Williams' I Can't Help It If I'm Still in Love with You reached No. 2 on the country charts and earned her a Grammy Award for Best Country Vocal Performance. The album also received 4 Grammy nominations, including Album of the Year, and gave Peter Asher a Producer of the Year nomination. Critics hailed Heart Like a Wheel as a masterpiece. Decades later, it would be named in Rolling Stone's 2020 edition of the 500 Greatest Albums of All Time. The record marked Linda's platinum breakthrough, but it was just the beginning. Her next album, Prisoner in Disguise, released in 1975, was another commercial triumph. It reached the top 5 within its first 2 weeks and sold over 1 million copies that year, making it her second consecutive platinum album. Then came Hasten Down the Wind, her third straight platinum release, and one that topped the charts, making Linda Ronstadt the first female artist in music history to earn 3 consecutive platinum albums by 1978. She had achieved 6 consecutive platinum albums, all of which earned Grammy nominations, and solidified her dominance in the industry. Every album she released in the 70s hit the top 10 of the US charts, making her one of the top-grossing live acts of the decade. Her 8th studio album, Simple Dreams, became her most commercially successful yet. It catapulted her to international fame and sealed her legacy as the most successful female rock and country artist of the era. The 1970s belonged to Linda Ronstadt. It was during the late 1970s that Linda Ronstadt's image became as iconic as her music. Gracing the covers of Rolling Stone and Time magazine, she was hailed as America's best-known female rock singer. By the end of 1978, she had 6 platinum-certified albums, all of which had landed in the top 10 of Billboard's album chart. She was selling out stadiums and arenas across the country, becoming the highest-paid female performer in rock and a trailblazer in a male-dominated industry. Alongside legends like Joni Mitchell and Carly Simon, Linda earned her place among the queens of rock. In 1980, she released Mad Love, a rock album that soared to the top 5 of the Billboard charts within its first week, and became her 7th consecutive platinum album. Throughout the 1980s, Linda continued to deliver hit after hit. Every release between 1980 and 1990 made it into the top 20 of Billboard's album charts, with several selling millions of copies within their first year. Her 3 highest-selling albums to date are Simple Dreams, 1977, What's New, 1983, and Cry Like a Rainstorm, Howl Like the Wind, 1989. But Linda's story isn't just about her solo success, it's also about collaboration. In 1978, she attempted a project with 2 of her favorite artists, Dolly Parton and Emmylou Harris. Linda had long admired their work. She had even covered Dolly's I Will Always Love You on her 1975 album. The 3 women were close friends and mutual fans, so a collaborative project seemed natural. But for nearly a decade, conflicting schedules prevented it from happening. Finally, in 1986, the trio made it into the studio and began recording. The result was Trio, released in 1987. The album was an instant success, topping Billboard's country albums chart for 5 consecutive weeks and selling millions. Fans and critics celebrated the record as the long-awaited harmony of 3 celestial songbirds. The album earned them a Grammy Award for Best Country Performance by a Duo or a Group with Vocal, and a nomination for Album of the Year, standing proudly alongside the likes of Michael Jackson, Prince, U2, and Whitney Houston. In 1994, Trio was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame. Years later, the trio reunited to record a follow-up. Once again, scheduling conflicts delayed its release. But in 1999, they finally dropped Trio 2, which earned another Grammy and further solidified their place in music history. That same year, Linda reunited with the Eagles and Jackson Browne for a New Year's Eve performance in Los Angeles. A year later, in 2000, her contract with Asylum Records came to an end. Even without a label, Linda continued to record songs and duets with a variety of artists until 2011, and she quietly stepped away from the spotlight. In August 2013, Linda publicly revealed she'd been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease and could no longer sing. The diagnosis was later updated to progressive supranuclear palsy, a rare degenerative disorder with symptoms similar to Parkinson's. Looking back, she recalled an early sign of vocal decline in 2000 while harmonizing with Emmylou Harris on Jackson Browne's For a Dancer. I heard this screech in my throat, she said. Doctors assured her her vocal cords looked fine, But Linda knew something was changing. Her voice was slipping away. Today at 78, Linda lives in San Francisco with her two adopted children, Mary, born 1990, and Carlos, born 1994. Though she never married, she had several high-profile relationships over the years, including one with then California Governor Jerry Browne in 2014. A year after going public with her diagnosis, Linda was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That same year, the Tucson Convention Center in her Arizona hometown was renamed the Linda Ronstadt Music Hall in her honor. By 2019, she'd released over 30 studio albums and appeared on more than 120 recordings by other artists. Her accolades include 11 Grammy Awards, 3 American Music Awards, 1 Emmy Award, 1 Alma Award nominations for a Tony Award, and a Golden Globe, countless gold and platinum certifications worldwide. So received a joint star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, alongside Dolly Parton and Emmylou Harris for their work on Trio. And in 2019, she was among 5 artists honored with the prestigious Kennedy Center Honors for lifetime contributions to American culture. That same year, she was awarded an honorary doctorate in music from Berklee College of Music for her influence on both American and international music. Reflecting on her journey, Linda credited her musical instincts to the sounds of her childhood home in Tucson. In an interview, she said, "If I didn't hear it on the radio, or if my dad wasn't playing it on the piano, or my brother wasn't singing it in his choir, or my mother and sister weren't practicing a Broadway tune or a Gilbert and Sullivan song, then I can't do it today. It's as simple as that." She added, "I don't record any genre I didn't hear in my family's living room before I was 10. That's just my rule, and I don't break it because I can't do it authentically. I truly believe our brains soak in music before we're 10 or 12. After that, you can learn, but you can't feel it the same way."